Today, we are diving deep into a world built on power, poison, and the absolutely terrifying art of transformation. We're going to pull back the curtain on the dark, incredibly intricate, and just fascinating world of Alchemist. So this is the debut novel from SenLinYu, an author who already has this massive online following. We're talking over 20 million downloads. And when you see numbers like that, you just know the world building is going to be deep and meticulously crafted. So let's see what really makes it tick. And boom, this is where we begin. Right from the prologue, we are thrown into complete and total darkness with our protagonist, Helena. I mean, imagine a darkness so absolute that you start to question if you even have eyes anymore. What on earth could lead to something like that? To really understand Helena's world, we have to start where she does, grounded in her brutal, inescapable reality. See, Helena is a prisoner, but not just in a cell. She's floating in some kind of stasis gel, completely unable to move. Her only way of knowing that time is even passing is from these agonizing electrical shocks that jolt her body every 3 hours, just to keep her muscles from wasting away. It is an absolutely brutal starting point, and it tells you everything you need to know about the grim nature of this world. So how does a world this brutal even function? Well, it all comes down to the fundamental laws of its magic, or really its science. The whole system is governed by what they call the rules of resonance. At the heart of it all is alchemization, the ability to transform one metal into another. Think of the classic lead into gold, but it's way, way more complex. It's now an established science, but one that was born from myth and legend. And the fuel for this whole science? It's something called resonance. It's this fundamental energy that alchemists can actually channel through their hands. With just a touch, they can connect to an object and literally begin to transmute it. But where did this incredible power actually come from? Well, according to the ancient lore, resonance wasn't some kind of gift. Oh no, it was the end result of a world-shattering catastrophe. This old cult believed that a great disaster, involving fire, floods, plagues, the whole shebang, was actually a planetary-scale alchemical process. And the very last stage, coagulation, is what resulted in humanity itself manifesting resonance. Talk about a brutal origin story for their power. But you can't have this kind of power floating around without a catalyst. And in this world, that catalyst is called lumithium, and it comes with an absolutely terrible price. So meet lumithium. This is a rare, super powerful element that is basically the source of all alchemy. It can literally create resonance in things that have none, making them totally malleable and ready for transformation. It is the absolute foundation of power. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Lumithium is a total double-edged sword. On one hand, its presence creates more alchemists and forms the bedrock of the city-state of Palladia's strength. But on the other hand, it's a deadly poison. Overexposure causes a fatal, wasting sickness, and the miners who dig it up are doomed to die within a single generation. And check out how that one poison shapes their entire society. Since the children of miners are born with resonance, they're actually susceptible to the toxicity and can't work in the mines. This forces the city-state of Palladia into this constant cycle of importing new non-resident laborers. The result? A non-stop population boom and an incredibly dense, politically volatile city. Okay, so we've got an established world order, and it's all built on this one powerful, poisonous element. But what happens when someone finds a way to completely break the rules? So just think about it for a second. In a world defined by the power to create and to transform, what would be the single most disruptive power imaginable? What if you could reverse the process? See, one of the few ancient principles that has always held true is the irreversibility of resonance. Once something gains resonance, you can change it into something else, but you can never make it inert again. It's a fundamental, unbreakable law of their universe. Until now. Enter Molianchi. It's this metal from the Far East, rarer and more protected than gold, that does the one thing everyone thought was completely impossible. It creates inertia. It actually takes resonance away. This changes everything. And you can probably guess what happens next, right? You take this rule-breaking metal, you fuse it with the source of all power, lumithium, and you get something absolutely terrifying, an unstable alloy called nullium. It doesn't just destroy resonance, it creates a resonance haze, a field that actively suppresses all alchemy in an area. This isn't just a new material, it's a game-changing strategic weapon. So let's bring it all home. How do all these different pieces fit together? The lore, the science, the poison, and this new weapon, they are all leading toward one final world-altering transmutation. So let's just put it all together. You have a whole society that is completely dependent on alchemy. The resource that fuels it is also the same thing that's slowly killing its people. Now a secret new weapon emerges that can shut that power down entirely. The result? A secret, desperate arms race that could completely shatter the balance of power and plunge the whole world into a new kind of war. And this isn't just about nations and armies. As this quote shows you, the conflict is horrifically personal. Alchemy isn't just used on metals anymore. It's being carved into flesh and welded directly to bone, turning people into living weapons. The stakes are literally etched into their very bodies. This symbol, the Ouroboros, it appears throughout the story, and it's really the perfect metaphor for this world, isn't it? It's a cycle of creation and destruction, power and poison, just endlessly feeding into itself, a constant, brutal transformation. Which leaves us with one final, haunting question. In a world where anything and anyone can be fundamentally changed, broken down, and rebuilt for a purpose, what is the ultimate price of being alchemized?